Hi there, and welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie, episode 374. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. Today is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. If you're watching us live, say hello and where you're watching from. And hello to my replay watchers. I want to give a special shout out to my Pixie patrons. You'll see them in the live chat with the little magic wand next to their names. They support the channel here by being a channel member, and we actually just had our May Pixie patron STAMPIN chat last night because the month of May is a little hectic for the DiMatteo family. So I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see, I have a prototype for tonight's project. I will explain. It gave me fits and starts, but I'm really excited about the project, and hopefully by the end of tonight's live stream, we'll be happy with the finished result. I know we will, but let me give you a sneak peek of the prototype. This box, a trapezoid box, has been requested probably more times than any other project, and I have most of the time said no to it because it's a tricky one. But I was determined to figure out how to teach this box to you. If you search trapezoid box on Pinterest, for example, you will find lots of different examples, some in French, some in German. I don't think I've seen one in English, but I want to give a shout out to, I think it's Crafty Minnie. I loved her version. It was obviously in metric in a different language, but that was kind of what I went with, but it's pixified. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to help you make more than one of these because it can seem a little intimidating, but we're going to create a little template together tonight, and hopefully that will help you. So bear with me. It's been a little crazy. Yesterday was catalog launch day. This amazing new annual catalog that you guys are absolutely loving. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback as far as how the catalog is laid out, the products that are available, so I'm super thrilled to hear that from you guys. That launched yesterday at midnight Mountain Time. I got up at, let's see, 1:45 a.m. Eastern Time, 15 minutes before go live. I got my product share order in, and it should deliver tomorrow, and we'll be quick to inventory everything and get started. A couple of schedule changes. There will be no live stream next week, but we will be back on Wednesday, May 21st. So I will miss you guys next week, but we'll be back on the 21st. And what else did I forget to tell you? If you want to participate in the live chat, you just need to be logged into your Google or YouTube account. That's how folks are chatting with us here live. If you've got a question for me, put a Q in front of that question. That will make it into my queue. I save all of the questions for the end of the live stream so I can focus on demonstrating tonight's project for you without interruption, and then I will stay on until I answer all of your questions. Brian's also watching the chat over here just in case you're new here and you forget to put a Q, he can grab your question for you. And if you are new here, let us know because my amazing live audience will give you a big warm welcome. Let's see. When you shop Stampin' Up, you can earn Stampin' rewards on orders of $25 or more. To shop with me, you can just use my magic shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop. That will automatically take you to the Stampin' Up online store shopping with me as your demonstrator. There's only 2 things you need to do to start earning Stampin' rewards if you haven't already earned them. I know many of you already have. We also just had double Stampin' rewards over the weekend, and it was fun to watch you guys rack up those Stampin' rewards. So 2 things: you do need to have a customer account at stampinup.com, and you do need to opt into the Stampin' rewards program. It's literally a little box that just says get started. That way Stampin' Up knows you're interested in participating and they know where to put your Stampin' rewards in your account. So when you earn Stampin' rewards, they are good for a year from the date earned to the end of that month. So for example, I had a bunch of people that ordered with the new catalog yesterday. The rewards they earned yesterday will not expire until May 31st of 2026. But it's like how money burns a hole in your pocket. I know when I earn rewards, I'm just ready to spend them on my next order. So some of you will be good and save them. Others of you will spend them, and both ways are a-okay. I'm one of those that will spend them as I earn them. So, but I am loving the new Stampin' Rewards program. You guys are too. So that is a wonderful new perk of shopping Stampin' Up! And I can now show you the inside of the catalog, but I'm going to give you a quick overview of the products we're using. I have nothing organized, but it is the beautiful gallery suite, which you will find on pages 52 and 53 to see the gorgeous spread of products. I love this suite so much. We were able to pre-order this, those of us, well, pre-order if we went to Onstage, but this was part of the demonstrator pre-order. I love the designer series paper, so I've got products behind me. We'll see if it works out from the prototype. Here's the prototype again. It is a trapezoid box. I did do an easier version of this without all the geometry and angles. You can check that out on my blog. That one is also called a Trapezoid Gift Box, just slightly different. But here is the version that you guys have been asking me. I got a request for it again today, and it reminded me to revisit the project. I was working on something totally different for tonight, and I scrapped that and moved on to this. That might have been part of why I'm behind with tonight's project, but we'll get there, we'll get there. So, beautiful gallery suite. Absolutely stunning designer series paper. I'll flip through it once we start playing around with it. So that's what we're going to use tonight. Let me show you a couple of things Nolan wanted to show you from Show and Tell. He got his new, Kumi Himo. I think it's Kumi Himo. You guys will correct me in the chat. The wooden one. So he started doing that with floss, like cross-stitch floss. And then this is Brian's bracelet. Did we show this one last week? It was a different one last week, didn't we? Anyways, this is Brian's bracelet, and this one is Lily's from Nolan. So he's getting his practice on with Kumi Himo and loving it. So that's Nolan. And pretty soon my kids are going to be a 4th grader and a 7th grader. They're done with school on May 22nd, right before Memorial Day. So this is going to be a crazy, crazy month. Lots of trips ahead and such. So, all right, why don't we jump into tonight's project? I do have measurements written. I have templates that are a work in progress. This gave me a little bit of trouble today, but you can rest assured that when I get the project sheet done, it will have all of the measurements and the template looking fine so that you can create this yourself. But I love the way that this box goes together. As you can tell, we've got lots of angles. Let me show you my funny goof as I was figuring this out. I shared a photo with my Pixie patrons before this, and I said, sometimes things don't work out, but it's all part of the learning experience. So I thought I had it. I went and did the lid in basic white just to see if it worked, and it did not. I didn't have my angles correct. It almost looks like the base of like a ruffled skirt is what I picture in my mind. I was like, well, that didn't work. So I went back to square one with the lid, and on the second try, I got it. I used my timeless plaid. I don't know. I just grabbed whatever designer series paper was closest to me and created the template. So just so you guys know, I am human and I figure things out as I go, and it really is all part of the learning process. Had I not made a lid that looked like this, it would have taken me a long time to figure out. This actually helped me to figure out what I did wrong. So there we go. Not sure that Strawberry Slush and Lost Lagoon look great together, but hey, the box is cooler than how it looks. Okay, so we're gonna start with, let's cut our pieces of cardstock and designer series paper first. So the cardstock base is going to be 6.5 by 5.5, which means you can get 2 out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. So I'm gonna use Calypso Coral. We're gonna kind of cut as we go here. So I'm a little bit lazy and I don't always love putting out the arm on my paper trimmer. So I need 6.5. So along the 8.5 inch side, I'm gonna cut 2 off. That means I'm gonna be left with 6.5. Thank you, Susan, for the super chat. You are so sweet. All right, so then this piece is 6.5 by 11. I'm gonna cut it in half on the 11-inch side at 5.5, and that's how we'll have 2 pieces. So you can have another piece for a second trapezoid box. So that is, again, 5.5 by 6.5. I'm gonna put that off to the side, and let me bring in the designer series paper. Well, let me flip through it just to show this to you. This is the pattern we're gonna use. I thought that would look really pretty with the Calypso coral base, but I absolutely love this paper. Ooh, that one would be pretty too. I'm sticking with that one. I'm getting distracted by the prettiness here. This is available as of yesterday. Look at this one. I love this. I used to work in an herb shop when I was in middle school and high school and college, and things like this always remind me of working there. That's a pretty one too. Okay, getting distracted. But isn't this paper just gorgeous? Oh my gosh. You get 48 sheets of 6 by 6 paper. This is included in my paper shares if you signed up for those. Love this pattern. We have amazing artists that work for Stampin' Up. These would be, gosh, so wonderful for card fronts. I love the 6 by 6 size for card fronts. So let me double check my measurement for the designer series paper. 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. Now, this paper is a little bit directional, but honestly, it doesn't matter. If it's directional, you're gonna wanna cut your piece to landscape. So 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to see my score lines on here. I think we will between the light on the back, and you'll see what I mean when it comes to that. Oh, let me leave this out. Okay, we're gonna create some templates, and these are totally optional. I will explain as we go scoring these pieces, what you can do without templates, but I found the templates actually made it really easy. So I'm gonna cut 2 pieces of basic white to the same sizes as these two. So let me grab a piece of basic white. All right, so we knew one of them is 5.5 by 6.5. So let me start with that piece. Make sure we can maximize our cuts here. And again, this was 8.5, so I'm gonna cut 2 off. Julie being lazy. So we got a piece that is 5.5 by 6.5. And then we're gonna cut a piece to 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay. I'm gonna bring in the templates so I can kind of explain to you what we're doing. I originally had made the base much more complicated than this looks here. I had a bunch of straight score lines in order to create the diagonal score lines, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna be too complicated to explain. I always want you guys to feel like you can give every one of my projects that I demonstrate a try. So we're actually gonna be scoring a rectangle right in the center of our piece of paper, but the rest of this base has angles. And so we don't want to do score lines that go all the way across the paper if we can avoid it. So there's a little trick to scoring right in the center. And one is you could simply line up your paper in the paper trimmer, and using the measurement on the clear guide, score in between measurements. We're actually going to do the same thing with our templates, but we're going to cut instead of score so that we can take our template to the Simply Scored and score very easily in the center. So this is, again, this template part is optional, but I wanted to show it to you in case you want to make multiples of these boxes because they're so cool. I love the trapezoid look. All right. I'll bring those templates back in a moment, but our first piece here, this is the smaller of the two, and this is gonna be for the lid. Let me move that out of the way. We want to score, so here's the trick. In the center of this, we wanna score at the 1 1/4 inch, so 1 1/4 inches in, we're gonna score a rectangle in the center that measures, let's see, what is the size of that rectangle? So on the long side, we're scoring between 1 1/4 and 3 1/2. And on the short side, between 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. And that's gonna give us a 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 rectangle in the center. So when I do my template, I actually want to leave a little bit of space for the stylus on the Simply Scored. So instead of lining up at 1 1/4 inches, I'm gonna actually move to the right just a 1/16 of an inch. And so let me show you what that looks like. So 1 1/4 inches is right there, and we're moving to the right a 1/16 of an inch, okay? And that's just gonna make sure that there is room for the stylus. So again, I'm gonna cut, we're cutting on the long side right now, so between 1 1/4 and 3 1/2. So I'm gonna line up my measurement here at 1 1/4, a little bit higher than 1 1/4, and then I'm going to cut down to 3 1/2. Now with our template, it's okay if you go a little bit above 1 1/4 and a little bit below 3 1/2. Essentially, we're just wanting to cut a rectangle out of the center of this paper. So again, we're lining up that edge at 1 1/4 inches, but then moving it a 1/16 of an inch to the right. And this time we're going to do between 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 instead of 1 1/4 and 3 1/2. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2, and again I can go a little bit past if I need to. Rotate it again, go to 1 1/4, but move it a 1/16 of an inch. Again, 1 1/4, 3 1/2. Rotate it a quarter turn, go to 1 1/4, but shift it a 1/16 of an inch. And then again, 1 1/4 to 2 1/2. And I just want to pop out that center section. So what this has done now has created this little window. This template we can take to the Simply Scored. We'll do that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and create our template for the base. Now again, you can write on this, save it somewhere in your crafty space, and use it each time you want to make these trapezoid boxes, or create it each time you're going to make a few if you don't want to save that. So with the larger piece, again, the 5 1/2 by 6 1/2, on the long sides, we're going to do a similar thing, but we're going to line up the edge at 1 3/4 instead of 1 1/4 because the height of this box is 1 3/4. The height of the lid was 1 1/4. That's why we lined up the edge to 1 1/4. So this will be 1 3/4. And again, we're going to move it in a 1/16 of an inch to the right. And we're going to score or cut on the long sides between 2 1/8 and 4 3/8. So same thing on your trimmer, 2 1/8 to 4 3/8. And don't worry with the template, you can go a little bit further if you need to, okay? Just keep turning it a quarter of a turn, go to 1 3/4, shift over by a 1/16. This is gonna now be 2 1/8 and 3 3/8. They're all different by an inch. So the long side is 2 1/8. I think I just said 2 1/4. 2 1/8 and 4 3/8. This is 2 1/8 and 3 3/8. I feel like I did something wrong there. Hold on. 1 3/4, 2 1/8. I put 3 3/8, but maybe I'm not going the right hold on, this might be a bust, but we'll see. 1 3/4. Move over a 1/16. Oh, I'm doing, I did tell you the wrong ones. Hold on. On the short sides. I didn't write these measurements down because I came up with different measurements. So I'll give you measurements in just a moment. I think it's 1 3/4. 1 3/4. I'll probably have to add those to the project sheet because I still had my measurements from when I did a bunch of straight score lines. All right, so I will tell you what that measurement is. Let me bring in my ruler. Of course, I forget it's 6.5. We'll do the big ruler here. All right, so it's 1 3/4 and 4 7/8. That's where you're going to do the either cutting for the template or scoring. Again, this will all be on the project sheet. So 1 3/4, 4 7/8. And then this is 1 3/4, 3 7/8. I think that's right. Let's make sure. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. I think that's right. So I'll double check the measurements for the project sheet. All right, so now we've got our templates, and this section here is going to be 3 by 2, and this one is going to be 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. And if I layer them, you can see this is how, I guess that's hard to see, the white on white. Let's bring it up closer to the camera. That shows you that this is narrower than the base, okay? And that's how we get our lids to nest, okay? So yeah, bear with me on those measurements. I'll make sure the project sheet is correct. That's what happens when you pivot at the last moment. All right, so now we're gonna bring in the Simply Scored, and I personally prefer the Simply Scored for doing the scoring because I get much more accuracy than I do with the paper trimmer. Nothing against the paper trimmer, there's just human involvement. So again, this is our template here, and you'll see that it is exactly the same size as our trapezoid box base. And then the other one is the same size as our trapezoid box lid. And if you remember, we shifted over just by a 1/16 of an inch. So this window is technically just a little bit bigger than what we need, and that saves us room for the stylus, which mine sprouted legs and walked away. Here we go. So again, as I mentioned, we're going to be scoring at the 1 3/4 inch mark, but you're going to feel where the track picks up, and it's just inside of that template we made. And then I'm just going to turn it a 1/4 of a turn, and again, I'm just inside of the template. So now we've got our 2 inch by 3 inch score lines right in the center of this without any straight lines getting in the way of where we need diagonal lines. So that is sort of how we do the template. Now again, you can absolutely do the scoring on the paper trimmer, and I'll give you those measurements. You're going to be scoring between, it's 1 3/4. I'll do it one more time because I'm second guessing myself. Between 1 3/4 and 3 3/4, not 3 7/8. So 1 3/4 and 3 3/4 on the short side. And then you're going to score between 1 3/4 and 4 3/4 on the long side. Again, lining up that edge at 1 3/4 on the paper trimmer. Or create a handy template. So let me put this one off to the side and let's score the center of this one. And we're just picking up the grooves in the Simply Scored with the stylus. And we're just inside of that template. So again, you're not going to see that well on the front. There's just that square in the center. Okay. All right. Now, our cardstock without the template on the larger 5.5 by 6.5 piece. We're going to make some tick marks to help us do our diagonal score lines. Okay. I promise this is all going to come together here. So on the, let's see, score, okay, tick marks are going to be 2 1/8 and 3 3/8. We're on the short side. Okay, so 2 1/8, 3 3/8, and I'm just putting a little tick mark right there. And again, we're doing this on the short side, so repeat on the opposite side, 2 1/8, 3 3/8. If it's easier for you to see pencil marks, by all means make a pencil mark instead of a tick mark. I don't love having to erase pencil marks, so I typically use the ball tip of my stylus. So then I'm going to turn it to the long side, and this time it's going to be 2 1/8 and 4 3/8. So 2 1/8, 4 3/8. There's those tick marks. 2 1/8, 4 3/8. Okay, so let me put that off to the side. Let's repeat. I think this one's going to be hard for me to see, so we're going to do it on the back side. For the smaller one, the tick marks on the long side are 1 and 3 3/4. So 1, 3 3/4. 1, 3 3/4. And then on the short side, it's 1 and 2 3/4. 1 and 2 3/4. So again, we just have those tick marks. Okay, so I know for a fact this one I'm going to do it on the lighter color because I'm going to have a hard time seeing those on the front, and that's okay. All right, so let me bring the templates in. We're going to start with the larger piece. And if you remember, we made our little tick marks here. That is how we're going to score from tick mark down to the corner of our rectangle to do those diagonal score lines. So we're going to do this, okay? So I love to start with the ball tip of my stylus right there in the corner of the rectangle because there's already kind of a groove there. I'm going to bring in my ruler or some type of straight edge, and I'm going to line it up with my tick mark we made at the top. Now, I made the tick mark with the stylus, so it's the perfect size for my score line. So I like to move the ruler just to the left of that tick mark. So we connected tick mark to that top corner of the rectangle. And I promise you'll get in a groove once you have created those templates, and then you'll just be able to do the tick marks and all the score lines. This will go much faster than it will as I'm explaining it. So let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, just kind of connecting the dots here. And this is what gives the box the trapezoid look. Okay, so now we're just going to turn and do the same thing. Corner of the rectangle to the tick mark. Like so. There we go. Okay, so now it's looking pretty darn close to our template, and we're going to finish the rest of that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and score the lid. Now, these boxes are going to go together very similarly, but they're going to be slightly different because of the angles. And again, that's because they taper in opposite directions. Okay. So this one, we're gonna do the same thing, only I'm gonna do it on the back side of the paper. So again, connecting the top of the rectangle up to my tick mark. And again, depending on the pattern paper that you have, you might need to use a pencil, something that you can erase. We'll see if I can do this with the lights here. There we go. So I know we're on the opposite side of the paper, but it shouldn't matter with the designer series paper. Just make it easy on yourself. I catch the shadow there. The video lights always get in the way for me. Okay, there's that. Same thing, we're going to connect those at the top. I keep putting my hand to shield the light so I can see where I am. There we go. In case you're wondering why I keep doing that. I'm sure it looks weird on camera. All right, so we've got all of those there. Okay, now both of these we're gonna cut along the longer side. So per the template, we're gonna cut up the score lines we made. Again, we're on the long side. So I'm not gonna fold and burnish yet because it is so much easier to fold and burnish after we've cut. I typically never do that, but once you add angles into the mix, it's much easier to cut first, and then you'll have much more leverage to do the folding and burnishing. So again, with this in landscapes, you've got your longer edge along the bottom, cut up your score lines, and stop right where those score lines meet. So let me get my paper snips. And I'm just cutting right down the center of that score line. Like that. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Like so. Okay. Now, before I had a whole bunch of other score lines to try to give you, try to get you these little side tabs. It's not even worth all of the complications to that because I figured the box itself is complicated enough. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to fold on that first score line there. We can actually come in and burnish it as well. Might as well while we're at it. I'm going to do that on both sides, but I just want to get those out of the way to actually what I'm going to do is also I'm going to burnish on all of the score lines. Why not? Because now we can, after we cut those angles, it makes everything easier. And then we'll just have these guys. Okay, so remember, we cut up along the long side. Now we need to leave some tabs behind. Now this template's gonna change slightly because I ran out of time to add the little miter cuts, but I'll show you where to do those. So I'm gonna fold that section out of the way. This is all excess, but we wanna leave behind about a 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch of a tab. So I'm just literally going, I don't know, about 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 of an inch to the right of the score line, and that's kind of creating our little tab. That's how we're going to glue the box together. And then I'm just going to work my way around, kind of folding that big section out of the way. I'm doing that so that my scissors don't nick it. And then I'm just basically removing some excess from the flap there. Okay, and we're just going to do that same thing all the way around. No need to be scientific with this part. We already did the geometric piece of this with our angles. So there we go. Now, we've got a little bit of excess here. So I need to come in and miter cut those little angles. So whichever way is easiest for you to get in there, just come in and cut out like a little pizza slice is what it looks like to me. Just a little triangle piece. And I just like to flip it around. Whichever way is easiest for me to get in there, cut that little pizza slice out. And that just gets those weird angled corners out of the way. So believe it or not, the box base is now ready to put together, okay? So again, you can see on my template, I didn't add those little notches. Those will end up there before it makes it to the project sheet. And that project sheet I will post tomorrow. And if you're on my email list, you'll also get it via email, okay? So there's that piece. Let me put that off to the side. We'll do all the gluing at the same time. Now this piece, we're gonna do the same thing. Again, focusing on the longer edge. And again, I'm gonna do this from the back because it will be easier to see. We're gonna cut up our diagonal score lines on the long side. Like so, okay? So now we can go ahead and fold and burnish. Just pay attention to your angles. All right, so same thing now. We're just gonna be doing, just a slightly different angle. We wanna create our little tabs. So I'm gonna fold that middle section out of the way. That way I can then isolate and we can remove this excess. Again, I'm leaving behind about 3/8 of an inch. Just enough for me to add adhesive to put the box together. And you see I'm just kind of flipping things. I'm right-handed just to keep my scissors here on the right side. And then the only edge now that I need to miter cut is these outside edges. Because again, our angles are going at an opposite direction. So just a little pizza slice miter cut there. And you'll know if you forgot to do it because the angles will fight you a little bit if you forget to trim them off. So now we look like our template, okay? Now it's time to put them together. Get tidied up here. Both templates will be on the project sheet for reference. And we'll start with the base. Very similar to putting together any of the boxes that I've shared. We're gonna line up the score line with the cut edge. The only difference here is both of them are at an angle, but it's gonna go together like that, okay? So liquid glue, everything's behind me today. I cannot wait to see your creations if you create this box. You guys are awesome at sending me photos of what you make. I love to see it. So again, just take your time lining up that cut edge with the score line, and you have a really nice edge there. Now, don't ask me to resize this box because I'm not sure I could pull off different sizes. It was a little too much geometry involved. Let me just put it that way. I was actually shocked that I figured it out. I was just about to abandon ship. But I was glad I persevered and it worked because I was really excited to share that. It's literally been on my list for so long and I keep thinking, I don't know if I can teach this box. But hopefully, as we've gone through this, it started to become a little bit more clear and something that you feel like you can create. Definitely takes a little bit more work. It's not a basic box, but it really does go much easier than it looks. There we go. And that last little edge, because we are dealing with angles, just a little bit tough to tuck that in there, but not hard. Just finagle it in there. But it's so cool. I just love the look. It's just so cool how it tapers. The trapezoid box that I shared a few years ago, just the front had the taper and the sides were straight, but I love the look of both the front and the sides tapering in. If you need to, you can kind of come in with your bone folder, just burnish those. You don't need to, but just for good measure, just making sure those are pressed down. And those are just on the inside there. Okay, all right, so that's the base. We're gonna do the same thing with the lid. It's just gonna look a little different because our angles are going the opposite way. But same thing, we're gonna put liquid glue on our little tab and then line up that score line with the cut edge, okay? Ooh, I love this paper. Love, love, love it. We're gonna use some new ribbon too. And a new stamp set, but not a brand new die set, but I had to come up with something really quickly because I hadn't actually designed the box before go live. Ooh, throwing things around here. Kelly, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, thank you. Got a little extra glue on that little piece there. A little zealous. You are welcome, Kelly. All right, the last tab. And then what do? We hold our breath and hope that it fits. Just kidding, it'll fit. I did all the work for you. All right, so there's that. Got some sticky hands at the moment. Again, oh, sticky bone folder too. There we go. Just gonna burnish those tabs down. And voila, perfect fit. Oh my gosh, I love the combination of this DSP with the Calypso coral. That is really pretty. All right, so just to recap the measurements so you kind of have an idea of what might fit. This would be good for like a handful of candies, for example. Hershey's Nuggets, peppermints, Hershey's Kisses, that type of thing. It's 2 inches by 3 inches on the bottom, but then it tapers to 1 1/4 inches by, forgot that measurement, by 2 1/4 inches. So 2 by 3, 1 1/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And then height wise, it's 1 3/4 inches. So you can, it's one of those that's a little bit deceiving because the opening is smaller than the base. So it can fit some good stuff in there. This would be cute as a little table favor if you wanted to put like jelly beans or, I'm trying to think of like other candies like Mike and Ike's or Milk Duds or Junior Mints. That would be kind of a cute little kind of after dinner treat at a dinner table. Now, the lid does stay on. If you filled it with stuff though, obviously when you turn it upside down, the stuff would put weight on the lid. So I'm actually gonna finish this off by tying a bow. We're gonna stamp as well and add a little sentiment to the front, but you can absolutely decorate this any way you like. It's not a super, it's the way that it's tapered, right? It really just kind of sits on there. It's not necessarily a snug to keep the lid on. See how it'll fall off, but it is a perfect fit, okay? Now don't test me on the angles because there's probably something that's slightly off degrees, but to the naked eye, it looks like it's a great fit. So I'm gonna grab the new basic beige ribbon. This is part of the beautiful gallery suite. I haven't even opened this ribbon yet. There we go. And I think I want that to be the front. Gonna need my reverse tweezers, my third hand here. All right. That's probably too much. There we go. There's nothing in the box, so those reverse tweezers are gonna cause it to go a little cattywampus. Just needed to hold that knot. There we go. Now we just zhuzh. I like to keep my fingers in the ribbon loops, and that just kind of keeps them nice and pretty there. That's probably good. There we go. I think my scissors are clean. We're about to find out. Yes. There we go. Oh, so cute with the bow on the top. All right, so let's do a little bit of stamping with one of our new in colors. Secret C is one of the coordinating colors. So we'll do that, and the Beautiful Motifs stamp set. So I'm actually bringing in the nested labels. I think these are. I had to check because I wasn't sure if these were still current. They are. So the smallest of the rectangles is the one I grabbed. I think it's called nested labels. Anyways, I thought we could do the thank you for everything sentiment. So let me get that going. Something stuck on my photopolymer there. I want to show you how I prime my stamps because this is a brand new stamp set. I'm like looking for the case and it's right in front of me. Still haven't cleaned some of my stamps. All right, so for me, it's easiest to, I don't know, I always put stamps on cattywampus. It's just easier for me so I don't get these lines. That's just the way I line things up. I'm gonna bring a scrap of basic white, and then those high polymer erasers that I've talked about, that's a hot tip from Patty Bennett. I just take the flat edge and I'm just gently brushing it on the top of my stamp set. I'm not pressing hard, just a little bit of priming going on there. Helps to get the manufacturing residue off of the stamp. And this is a brand new ink pad, so nice and juicy. There we go. I was panicking for a second because I forgot to check on the stamp set if the imagery is a reduced percentage, but it does fit into that rectangle. And then we're just going to do a quick die cut. Get that centered. Looks good. so cute with the stitching there. All right, and then this, I'll pop it up on a pair of dimensionals. There we go. Use my reverse tweezers to help me eyeball it, but I think that should fit. Oh, so cute. There's that. I could have used basic beige as well, but I kind of like the contrast of the white with the basic beige. And I might add one of these guys. Now, if you've ordered these are the pressed flower motifs. They're kind of heavy, which is cool. So they're definitely metal. If you do get these, like you can see mine, because of the weight of them, they might disperse a little bit during shipment. But I wish well, you can kind of see how heavy those are based on how they're just one piece of tape holding them in there, but they've got some weight to them. So keep that in mind if you're gonna put these on cards that you'll mail. These might put you just over an ounce, but don't quote me on that. It's just something that popped into my mind. But I think I want to add, yeah, let's just add a little bit of bling there from the sweet. I love that. Just a different look. And you can see, if I catch the light, the texture on those. Really, really pretty. So again, these are the pressed flower motifs. This was one of the free gift choices for product shares. So I know a few of those are going to a few of you. But that is our trapezoid box. So I'd love to hear what you think. Hopefully by the end, it looked a lot easier than it started. Again, I will have the project sheet available at some point for you tomorrow with the templates for reference, measurements. You can always come back to this video to look at how we created the templates, the ones to do the scoring in the middle of the paper, but I love the way that it turned out. So that is our trapezoid box for today. All right, so we are going to jump into tonight's Q&A. So if you've got a question for me, just a reminder, put a Q in front of that question. That will make it into my queue. I'm about 20 to 30 seconds ahead of you, so I don't always get to the questions that come in at the very tail end. You can always, at any time in between live streams, reach out to me directly at support@thepaperpixie.com. It's me behind the inbox answering your questions, so feel free to ask me anything throughout the week. All right, let me get those queued up. All right, coming up with Lori up front. So Lori, if you go to thepaperpixie.com/catalogs, there's a couple of options there. You can read about my catalog program. You can add a catalog to your next Stampin' Up! Order. When you shop with me, if you're a brand new customer, you get a one-time free catalog request. That's for brand new customers only. So there's a couple of different ways to get a catalog for me, but the best place to read all about that is thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. Let's see. Do you have a choice of when to use your Stampin' Rewards, or do you have to use them as you earn them? Thank you very much. This is what I love about the new Stampin' Rewards program. It's your rewards your way. So the order you earn them on, you can't use what you earn on that specific order. So you earn them on an order, they get added to your Stampin' Rewards balance. You can save them if you want to save them up for a future order. You can use them as you earn them. So let's say, for example, I place a $20 order today, I'll earn $2 in Stampin' Rewards. Let's say I place a $20 order tomorrow, I can either apply those $2 to that next order, or I'll earn another $2 and then I'll have $4 in my Stampin' Rewards balance. So it's totally up to you. You definitely want to use them before you, before they expire. So, ooh, we got another super chat. Cliffy, thank you for the super chat. Sorry, I have my chat filtered by questions, but Brian just helped me out. Thank you, Cliffy. So Nancy, hopefully that answers your questions. You can either save them or use them on the next order. I'm kind of seeing a combination of both where customers are using them as they earn them or they're saving them up. So totally up to you. Let's see. Francis, send me an email. I know your name is on the list for product shares, but we had about 150 people that signed up, so I don't know exactly which one you ordered, but you can email me if you want to double check. You should have gotten a whole bunch of confirmation email of what you signed up for, and then a confirmation email when you paid. So hopefully you got those emails in your inbox. If they skipped your inbox, check your spam folder, but you can always email me at support@thepaperpixie.com. I can check that for you. Yes, there is a bundle. If you're talking, Susie, about the new sips and something or other, the wine glasses, cocktail glasses, there is a bundle that goes with that. It's not in the catalog. It is in online exclusives. I think if I remember, there's something in the annual catalog that references that. Maybe it's scrapbook products. Forgive me, I haven't spent a lot of time with the catalog yet. We've been working on shares. But they're in the online exclusives category of the online store as a whole. Cheers and Sips, I think is the name of the suite. But yes, there's designer series paper, there's a stamp set, a die set, and a ribbon. I can't remember if there's an embellishment as well, but yes, there's more to that for sure. Sharon, yes. So your account, whether you are a demonstrator or not, it's all based on email address. So you would still log into that same account, and Stampin' Up! Will know that you're not a demonstrator, but you're a customer, and you can opt in. Essentially what'll happen is as soon as you log into your account, or as soon as you create an account, if this doesn't apply to you, Sharon, because you already have one, but if you don't have an account and you create one, there should be a pop-up that asks you if you want to join the Stampin' Rewards program. If for some reason you have pop-ups turned off and you don't see that Stampin' Rewards pop-up, you can just go into your account. So once you're logged in, click on your name. It'll say, I think it'll say, hello, Sharon, in the upper right corner, or hello, whatever your name is, if I'm talking to everybody else. And there's a rewards section. Click on rewards, and there's also an option to opt in there if for some reason you're not seeing the pop-up. You only have to do it once. Once you opt in, you can always opt out of it later if you decide not to participate, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to. But you can always opt in that way or opt out that way. Let's see, a new product you saw today, Irresistible Designs. I'm thinking, Linda, because I don't know. That one is not ringing a bell off the top of my head, but there's also a sneak peek product suite that some demonstrators have access to. I don't know if that's the name of it, though. Irresistible Designs. Oh, if you look on page 116 of your catalog, Linda, Irresistible Designs is right down here. It's a UV coated designer series paper. You can do some cool techniques with blending brushes and that type of thing. I just happened to find that. Wow, I got lucky. But yeah, page 116. You can also search for Irresistible Designs in the online store and read more about it there as well. It does not fit a gift card. Let's see. I have not considered submitting this design of the box to Stampin' Up!, but maybe. I'm trying to think if we had one that had a similar trapezoid look back in the day. I don't remember. I have a vague memory that we had something similar, but not exactly like this. I remember now, it was it was probably 12 to 14 years ago. And it was a little purse box that had a trapezoid shape back in the day. I almost think it was when we had the thicker steel rule dies that had the foam. That's what I'm remembering. So for Super Chats, Zandy, In the bottom of the chat where you type in your little chat bubble on YouTube, there should be, is it a little $ icon? What happens when you click plus? Brian's checking on his end. Oh, you probably can't. You're logged in as me. I can't give myself super chats. There should be like a little $sign icon next to like the emoji face in the little chat box where you would type in your message, and that's how you can do super chats. You do have to be, I think you have to have a payment option connected to your Google account, but that's how people are doing super chats. The machine I use sunny days is the Anna Griffin Empress Mini. The 1 7/8 inch circle punch, Cheryl, the last I checked, it was estimated, I checked yesterday, estimated to be restocked the week, well, not even restocked, to actually reach the warehouse the week of May 26th. So Stampin' Up! Tried so hard to get that punch in time for the catalog launch yesterday, but they just couldn't do it. So that shipment has been delayed. But I think that's the only product that didn't make it to the warehouse. It is estimated to be stocked the week of May 26th. That may change. However, I showed in last week's live stream, you can actually ask to be notified when that product is restocked. So if you go to that product in the online store, you'll see a little box for your email address. You can type that in to opt in to be notified, and you'll get an email as soon as that product is restocked. That way you don't have to keep asking or checking the inventory status report. That's a great new option that just got added within the last week, so check that out. The yellow box with a cost attached. I think that's the super chat window, Debbie. Susan, I'm not sure which share you signed up for. So the embellishment was for the I Want It All share, and there was 3 choices for that. The flower motifs, is that what they were called? Yeah, pressed flower motifs, the green hexagon, shades of green hexagons, and the holographic dots. Those were the 3 choices. You can email me and I can check for you. Let's see. Yes, Joanna, welcome to the Pixies. You will actually get a whole box of catalogs. So in the starter kit, you'll get a box of 8 of the annual catalog. You actually, if you signed up last week, you might actually get a box of the old catalogs. Although I don't know, that would be silly if they included that because those just ended on Monday. But you're definitely getting a box of a box of 8, so you can share them with friends and family. Debbie, thank you for the super chat. You're so sweet. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so Pat, you're not able to order the paper pumpkin die cuts. Should I be doing something different online? Yes, I think this is the issue. Have you claimed your paper pumpkin subscription on StampinUp.com yet? If you have not, you need to go to, so you're logged into your account. I know you're on my team, but if you log into your account and you go to subscriptions or My Paper, I can't remember the menu names. It's either Paper Pumpkin or subscription in your account. There'll be a box that says claim my subscription. So you want to click on that, type in your email address. Stampin' Up! Will send you an email to then claim your subscription, and that will move your subscription over to the Stampin' Up! Website. So back in, I think it was April 11th. Paper Pumpkin, or it might have been March 11th now. My months are running together, but Paper Pumpkin transitioned from paperpumpkin.com to the StampinUp.com website. You need to claim that subscription in order to do a number of things. In order to purchase past kits, refills, add-ons like the dies that you're talking about, and also in order to earn Stampin' Rewards on that subscription. So you do need to claim that Paper Pumpkin if you haven't done it already. It's very important because I don't want you to miss out on stuff like that. So if you have any troubles or you've got more questions about that, feel free to reach out to me, Pat. Anyone can get Stampin' Rewards, not just demonstrators. So customers, absolutely. The program is actually intended for customers. Demonstrators get to participate as well, which is an added perk on top of our discount, but it is intended for customers. So, well, really demonstrators are customers too, because we love the products as much as customers do. But you just have to have a Stampin' Up! Account. And that's just simply a place to log in on the Stampin' Up! Website. It allows you to look at your order history when you have an account. It's a place to deposit your Stampin' Rewards when you earn them. So you just have to have a Stampin' Up! Account and opt into the Stampin' Rewards program. It's as simple as clicking a button that says Get Started. It's totally free to participate. It's just part of the terms and conditions. Stampin' Up! Does need to ask your permission to join the program. It's nothing more than that. And you do want to log into your account each time you shop. That way, when you earn Stampin' Rewards, and you earn them on orders as low as $20 or more, which I love, because before this, it was orders of $150 or more that earned Stampin' Rewards. Now it's just about every order. So orders of $20 or more earn them. And those will deposit to your Stampin' Up! Account. Okay? Okay, so if it was the I Want It All, Susan, you had to have picked a free gift. You just might not remember what you picked. It was a requirement on the form. So if you want to email me and know, or maybe you just want to be surprised, but I will put in there what you picked. You just might not remember what you picked. So, all right, we are at the end of the cues. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight, and thanks for putting up with me not being 100% ready, but I hope you loved the end result. I love how it turned out. This Trapezoid gift box is so cool. So I appreciate all the demonstrators that gave me inspiration, especially Crafty Minnie, but such a cool box, and I'm glad I finally figured out a pixie-fied way to do it. So thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, email me anytime, support@thepaperpixie.com. Reminder that we will not be live next week. Our next live stream will be Wednesday, May 21st. That will be episode 375. So we'll miss you next week, but we'll see you on the 21st. Don't forget to check out the brand new annual catalog. A whole bunch of brand new online exclusives dropped yesterday. What else do I want to tell you? Check out the Stampin' Rewards program. Check out the last chance list. All kinds of goodies available too. Lots of amazing new products. So be sure to check that out. I don't know about you, I always get to this time of year and I'm ready for new stuff, so it's perfect timing. So we're going to be busy working on product shares. So just to let those of you know that did sign up for shares, I did get my order in. Everything was in stock. Everything's on the way to me. I should get it tomorrow. Once we get it inventoried, Brian and I will get to work. And the plan is to get those shipped out by the week of Memorial Day. What is that? The week of May 26th. That is our goal. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful and blessed week. Don't forget, all you need are stamps, ink, and a little paper pixie. And here's a special shout out to my Pixie patrons. Thank you guys so much for the super chats, the support. I love seeing how happy you are in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Blessings to you, and we'll see you on May 21st. Take good care. Bye.